Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon Perna, and yes, Bengals backup quarterback AJ McCarron has won his grievance he filed against the Bengals or the NFL, which means he will be an unrestricted free agent instead of a restricted free agent once free agency begins at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 14th. McCarron will be added to the already long list of moderate to above average to who the hell knows caliber NFL QB free agents this offseason. That's Good Sports. I do have big dick shout-outs for my new Patreon supporters. Snoop Dubs, Anthony Leon, huge $20 nation from Asthmatic Mania. Tim Tebow is better than Tom Brady. Agreed. Dan Averill, and Tyrone Whitehouse. Thank you guys, and yes, you watching can support this channel at patreon.com/thatsgoodsports if you think these videos aren't complete shit. Your fan funding is what feeds me every month. All right, now, the annual off-season tradition of fixating on the most recent shiny object to catch the eye or eyes of Broncos fans is officially upon us. First, it was Kirk Cousins for basically the last 2 years. Then it was Baker Mayfield after a solid Rose Bowl performance and a week at the Senior Bowl with Broncos coaches. Then it was Kirk Cousins again after Washington traded for Alex Smith, followed by Nick Foles after he won Super Bowl MVP, and now finally it is AJ McCarron, king of having the most ungodly tattoos of, well, God. As you'd assume with any QB free agent at this point, the Denver Broncos would in fact be interested in AJ McCarron once he hits the open market. Obviously, the Broncos are familiar with McCarron. As a second-year pro in 2015, AJ put up a solid first-half performance against Denver in Week 16 on Monday Night Football before fumbling away the Bengals' chance to win in overtime. And just before last season, John Elway had to denounce AJ McCarron to Denver trade rumors as fake news on Twitter. So it's safe to say the Broncos have been, probably not, could have been interested, maybe they will still be interested in AJ McCarron. Of course, I know that the lack of football and the prospect of a long offseason is currently melting everyone's brains into warm lasagna. But we have to be rational about this. So I present to you some of the many reasons the Broncos should absolutely, unequivocally not pursue AJ McCarron this offseason. Reason 6. Never trust a quarterback with initials for a first name. AJ Feely, TJ Yates, JT O'Sullivan. You have to go back to Y.A. Tittle to find a truly great quarterback with initials for a first name. And that was in the 50s, so it doesn't really count. Also, a quarterback with initials has never even started in a Super Bowl. Reason 5. The Cleveland Browns tried to trade for AJ McCarron. I repeat, the Cleveland Browns wanted him. 4. He's been sitting behind Andy Dalton for the last 2 years. If he was such a great quarterback, why wouldn't he have beaten out the most average quarterback in the NFL for the starting job by now? I know Bengals are loyal to a fault, Marvin Lewis, but they also have eyeballs. When comparing the two QBs, I think it's fair to say they are equally as good when it comes to sporting shitty haircuts. Andy Dalton wears his beanies much better than AJ, but then again, AJ has the hotter wife in former Miss Alabama. But even if she was ugly, she'd still be hotter than Dalton's wife, who is just a female clone of a younger version of Andy Dalton. I told you, he's a weird fucking dude. Number 3, nobody wants Brent Musburger hanging around Dub Valley asking for Catherine Webb's phone number.
A quarterback at Alabama. You see that lovely lady there? She does go to Auburn, I want to admit that. But she also Miss Alabama, and that's A.J. McCarron's girlfriend. Wow, I'm telling you, quarterbacks, you get all the good-looking women. What a beautiful woman.
Wow, A.J.'s doing some things right down in
So if you're a youngster in Alabama, start getting the football out and throw it around the backyard with Pop.
2. The 2015 Cincinnati Bengals offense made Andy Dalton look like an all-pro, mostly due to an outstanding offensive line and weapons like A.J. Green, Marvin Jones, a healthy Tyler Eifert, his one healthy season, I believe. Mohamed Sanu, Jeremy Hill, and Giovanni Bernard, when those two backs accounted for 2,000 yards of total offense for the Bengals. Dalton had a 25 touchdown to 7 interception ratio, 8.4 yards per attempt in 13 games. McCarron, in his 3 starts, threw 6 touchdowns, 2 picks with 7.2 yards per attempt. It was an ideal situation for a quarterback to jump into. And Broncos fans should be familiar with this, as that was the same season Brock Osweiler jumped into a great situation with the best fucking defense we've ever fucking seen. Number 1. He's still not better than the alternatives. Does McCarron becoming a free agent suddenly make him better than the proven production of Kirk Cousins or the potential of Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield? I think not. He's certainly not as accomplished as Case Keenum or Nick Foles, but he was an official member of the Gambino crime family prior to joining the NFL. His pro day consisted of stealing shoes from other players, carbo loading on chicken Alfredo a la Michael Scott, and smoking cigars after each drill. So he is kind of a badass. Now, as long as John Elway never sees this picture of AJ McCarron, where he appears to be 2 feet taller than Andy Dalton, I think Elway's sights will still be set on Kirk Cousins. If Elway does show significant interest in McCarron, I think it's going to be a good leverage move at this point, so that Kirk Cousins doesn't feel like Von Miller and the Broncos are too needy, and he gets all weirded out by the idea and goes to another team like Arizona or New York or Buffalo or Cleveland or even back to Washington. Who the fuck knows at this point? Here's the bottom line though for AJ McCarron. He's a risk. He doesn't have enough experience in the NFL to say he definitely deserves 15 to 20 million a year, which is probably what some team is going to have to pay to get him to be their starting quarterback. So at this point, personally, I'd rather pay $10 extra million for Kirk Cousins because I know he has 3 or 4 seasons with a very good track record. And that's not to say that AJ McCarron won't turn out to be a great NFL quarterback. It's a guess, it's a gamble, just like taking a rookie at this point. So I'd feel safer with Kirk Cousins. But if I get AJ McCarron, I guess I'll have to learn to love him. Just like if my first child turns out to be a Cardinals fan. Big shout out to Will Keys, who wrote most of this episode for me. I asked him to write an article for my Patreon account, and this was basically what he came up with. I'm gonna post this article on Patreon, as will I be posting the Patreon-only podcast. That'll either be up tonight or early tomorrow morning. It's already late, so I apologize, but I'll get it up as soon as I finish this goddamn video. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. You gotta sub on YouTube. My ego really needs to see my subscriber numbers get higher. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna if you wanna talk football to me. Facebook, share the video. Oh God. I need a break. It's supposed to be the off season, Jesus.